Hi guys, this is Mr. Urrego, and today we're going to do rational equations. We're going to learn how to solve these beautiful things. Okay, before we start, what's a rational equation? A rational equation is nothing more than one rational expression. Please check the video for rational expressions. I explain everything: add, subtract, multiply, divide, domain, everything. Okay, so right now we're doing equations, rational equations. What's my first step? Always when I have a rational equation, my first step is to see if there's anything that I can factor. The idea is to factor the denominator. Can I? X cannot be factored, the 5 no, the 2x cannot. Done. My second step is to find the restrictions, my domain. That's my second step. So I'm looking for my restrictions with my denominator. Okay, what are my restrictions? Anything that makes my denominator 0. So in that case, I take this denominator, make it equal to 0, and that's a restriction. Here, the 5, we only do the ones that have a variable, because the 5 making it equal to 0 does not make sense. So 2x equal to 0, divided by 2, x equals 0. So we notice that x equals 0 is my restriction. So my restriction is x cannot be equal to 0, because if x equals 0, my denominator becomes 0, and therefore this is an undefined. Okay, domain. Check the previous video. Next step, find the LCD. I need to find the least common denominator. All right, the least common denominator for this. Again, I check every single denominator. I bring whatever is in common. In this case, I see that I have an x. I have an x here, so my least common denominator will be whatever's in common. X, and x is common. That's part of my denominator. What's not in common? This 5 is not common. I brought it here. The 2 is not common. I brought it here. So the product of these 3, 2 times 5 is 10, 10x. That's my least common denominator. The product of my common terms and whatever is not common. Well, technically my x is not common in all 3 denominators, but is in common in 2 of them. Okay, so I don't bring 2 x's, just one of them, the 5 and the 2. So that's my least common denominator. My next step, once I find the LCD, is to multiply the whole equation by the least common denominator. So here we go. So let's multiply this whole thing. Let me erase this x. Okay, I'm multiplying the whole equation by my common denominator. So 10x, 10x. Each one of them, 10x times 1 is 10x, and I bring my denominator. Remember, I have a 1 over here, so it's 1 times x just in case. Top with top, bottom with bottom. Equals 10x times 1 is 10x over 5. 10x times 3, 30x divided by 2x. Once I multiply, I simplify. I simplify now, and I'm getting ready to solve. How do I simplify? The idea of multiplying my LCD is to get rid of my denominators. So look at this. This x from the top cancel with this x from the bottom. So my answer there is 10. 10 divided by 5 is 2. And I bring my x. So 10 divided by 5 is 2 and 2x, right? 30x divided by 2x. What happened with the x's? Cancel, cancel. 30 divided by 2 is 15. And now I solve for my variable. Okay, so these are very important steps. Solve. Minus 15, and I have negative 5 equals to 2x. 15 minus 15 is 0. Divided by 2, my answer, x equals negative 5 over 2. Once I have my answer, I gotta go back and plug it in, the original equation. So these are the basic steps. After this is solve for x. And my last step is check the answer on my original equation. All right, let's do another one. Remember guys, I always start easy, then I go medium, and then I go hard. There's a difficult problem at the end, so stay tuned. Let's erase this and let's go to the next one. Let's try this. Let me see. Let's try this example. So example number 2. Here we go. We have, let me write it. So now we have this problem. 3 over 2x minus 2 plus 1/2 equals 2 over x minus 1. My first step, factor denominator. Okay, I'll write the same thing on the top. Here's the greatest common factor, x minus 1. Please, if you're not sure about factoring, here's a video about factoring. Make sure you check it out. I'll link this in the description as well and at the end of the video. So I factor this CF here. Then I bring the 1/2. And there's nothing that I can factor. I'm always concerned for the denominators. If there's something on the top, I leave it alone. Next, find the restrictions. How do I find the restrictions? You make your denominator zeros. Okay, every single denominator that has a variable, I gotta make it equal to 0. So 2x minus 1 equals 0. There's no x here, then x minus 1 equals 0. Here, divided by 2, that cancels. X minus 1 is 0 divided by 2, which is 0. You see, and the 2 is gone. So I'm only concerned for the x's. X plus 1, therefore x equals 1. When the x equals 1, 1 minus 1 will make the denominator 0. So I don't want this value. So this is my first restriction. I don't want it, so x has to be different of 1. Comma. Here is the same thing that I have here. So plus 1, x equals 1. I already have it. Here's the restriction. So this is the only restriction that I have. Okay? My next step is to find the LCD. Let me erase and let me make space. My LCD, once my denominators are factored, then I see what's in common. I see an x minus 1 common here. So my LCD is that factor. X minus 1 is a factor. What else? This denominator has a 2. Okay, that 2 is also part of it. Because you see that? 2 and 2 is the same thing. I just need one of them. And now I have every single thing that is on the denominators as my LCD. X minus 1 here and the 2's are there. Let me organize this. X minus 1. Should I multiply? No. You're looking for the factors. So I'm going to keep it like that. I don't want to distribute that 2. I want to keep them as factors, multiplication. Alright, so now I have to multiply all my equation by the LCD. Alright, I'm going to multiply the whole equation by the LCD. Let's erase. My LCD is 2x minus 1. 2x minus 1. Just in case, I'm going to put 1 on the denominator, so you don't make a mistake of multiplying the top and the bottom by the same thing. So multiply by the LCD. That's step number 4. Let's go. This times this. I'm going to leave everything indicated. So it's 2 times 3 times x minus 1. Right? 2x minus 1 times 3. 2x minus 1 times 3 over 2x minus 1. Plus that times 1. 2x minus 1 times 1 is 2x minus 1. 1 times 2 is 2. My denominators will not change because they're multiplying times 1. Keep that in mind. That's a common mistake. Be careful. The top times 2. So it's 2 times 2, 2 times 2, and I bring the x minus 1. The bottom, 1 times that is x minus 1. Right? And now I affected my LCD. What's the idea of multiplying by my LCD? Because now my denominators are going to cancel. Okay, so when I say simplify, now your denominators will cancel. Let's get rid. So look at this thing. X minus 1 from the top, x minus 1 from the bottom. 2 from the top, 2 from the bottom. X minus 1, the 2, and the 2. And look at the denominators are gone. What do I have left? 3 here. Nothing else. X minus 1. The other side, 2 times 2, which is 4, because the x minus 1 cancel. So that step was simplifying. I was just simplifying my common factors. The last step is solve for x. Now this is an easy equation. Solve for x, and don't forget to check your answers. Okay? Check your answer in the original equation. So let's solve this thing. 3, there's a plus in front of the parentheses, so the plus on the x is not going to change anything. Positive times negative is negative 1 equals 4. Combine like terms. 3 minus 1 is 2 equals 4. Minus 2 minus 2. 4 minus 2. 4 minus 2 is 2. X equals 2. Now, this is the answer. I'm done. You might want to double check, plug it in back into the original equation. You can use a calculator for that. When I'm giving my answer, make sure that you bring back your restriction. So, x equals 2, but the restriction is part of my answer. X cannot be equal to 1. Alright, so you always have your answer with the restriction at the end. This restriction will always be asked. Keep that in mind. Every time you're doing rational equations or rational expressions or rational functions of any type, this is part of your domain, right? This is part of your domain, right? Your domain is all real numbers. Oops, that's supposed to be R like this. All real numbers except this value, except when the x equals 1. Alright? So this is the least amount of information that you have to give when you're doing your domain. The restrictions. Always at the end with your answer, to make sure that you understand what's going on. Alright, let's do one more. Let's do a little more complex. Now we have example number 3. 1 over x minus 4 minus 5 over x plus 2 equals 6 over this. You see? So the whole idea is that these problems get more confusing because of the factoring. Or sometimes you have something on the top, which is our next problem. Alright? Make sure you stay for that one. If you're still with me, please make sure you hit that button. Subscribe. It's on the bottom right. Subscribe to the channel, please. That's going to help me a lot. Okay, let's go. So, factor denominator. Factor. So I'm going to write same as the top. X minus 4, because there's nothing that I can factor here. What about the x plus 2? Oh my god, that's a horrible 5. Nothing that I can factor. But what about this trinomial? Yes. That trinomial is going to factor xx. This is minus, this is negative times negative is positive. So two numbers you multiply, you get negative 8. But when you add, you get negative, you get negative 2. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. There we go. That's how we factor. So now that I factor, what do I need to do? Restrictions. Restrictions, all right? That's huge. And these restrictions are done in your original function, in your original equation, okay? Before you do anything original. Okay, what are my restrictions? I bring every single denominator and you make it equal to 0. If you notice, the process is the same. I'm not changing anything. X plus 2 equals 0. This thing, x minus 4, x plus 2 equals 0. Every single denominator that has an x, I gotta make it equal to 0. And from there, I gotta find the value of x. Those 4's cancel. 0 plus 4 is 4. Do I want this 4? No, because 4 minus 4 is 0. My denominator becomes 0. 1 divided by 0 is undefined. I don't want this. I don't want that 4. So x has to be different of 4. First, what about here? 2 minus 2. Do I want this? No, that's my second restriction. That's supposed to be a comma, by the way. Okay, but look at this. Here is x minus 4, which I did already, right? So here, my restriction is going to be 4. And the x plus 2, I already did it here. So my restriction is going to be negative 2. So do I need to add it here again? No, I already covered them because of this 2. So those are the only restrictions that I have. All right? Keep in mind, I don't have to repeat the same restrictions if I have it again. I don't have to. Next, find the LCD, right? That's my next step. So let's find the LCD. Let's erase and let's find some LCD. So my LCD, every factor, so this should be parentheses, this should be parentheses, right? Those are in parentheses. So every factor, let's see, x minus 4, so LCD. This factor, x minus 4. But this factor is also here. I only bring one of them. Got it. X plus 2, right? But x plus 2 is also here. Is there anything else on the denominators that I need? No. Therefore, that's my LCD. X minus 4 and x plus 2. Okay, now what do? I need to multiply the whole equation by my LCD. So my next step is multiply. Alright, so I gotta multiply the whole thing. Let's erase. Here we go, the whole thing. My LCD is x minus 4 times x plus 2, right? That's my LCD. Let's put over 1 to make sure that we don't make mistakes. This times 1 is the same thing. So I have x minus 4 times x plus 2, the same denominator. 1 times that is the same denominator. If you want to keep it in parentheses, that's fine. Minus my LCD times 5. So I have, let's put the 5 in the beginning. Let's put 5, right? Times x minus 4 times x plus 2. The bottom, the same denominator, x plus 2, equals my LCD times the 6. So I have 6. We gotta put some kind of line here. There you go. We have 6 times my LCD, x minus 4, x plus 2, divided by my same denominator. Please be careful with signs. Make sure there's no, you're not making mistakes with any signs. Make sure you double check. Once I have this, what was the idea? The idea of multiplying by my LCD was to cancel the denominators. So right now, step number 5, I'm simplifying my common factors, meaning something from the top and something from the bottom. Let's get some red over here. So x minus 4 cancel the denominator. Here, x plus 2 cancel the denominator. In the other side, they will both be canceled. Even better, beautiful. What's left? X plus 2. I'm going to do an extra step right now. Minus 5 that multiplies the x minus 4 because that's what is left on the top. Equals. Alright, let me double check. X plus 2, Spanish. X plus 2 minus 5x minus 4 equals, this cancels 6. Everything was cancelled. Alright, what do I do now? Solve for x. So that's my last step. Well, solve for x in this case, or any variable that you have. There's nothing in front of this parenthesis, so I can just get rid of the parenthesis. But here I have a minus 5 that multiplies every single one of them. So I have negative 5x, and negative 5 times negative 4 is positive 20. Now in this equation, which is x plus 2, so let's combine like terms. X minus 5x is going to give me negative 4x. 2 plus 20, 22 equal to 6. Subtract 22. Okay, let's continue right here. So I'm going to have negative 4x, right? 22 minus 22 is 0. 6 minus 22 is negative 16. Divided by negative 4, negative 4. X equals positive 4. And we're done with the problem. What's the idea? The idea is to bring down the restrictions. Remember, x cannot be equal to 4, but hold on. So what happens now? Let's bring the other one, and let's analyze what's going on. So my other restriction is negative 2. So this is the big, important thing that I need to do, right? Always, let me get red. I got my answer. I solved everything, logical process. But then when I get my answer, I find out that that's part of my restrictions. So what happened now? So this is an extraneous solution, meaning it's not part of my domain, right? So if this is the only answer that I got from all my rational equation, that means I have no answer. because this is part of my restrictions. So this is called an extraneous solution. Let me make a little bit of space here to write. So this is called an extraneous solution, a solution that you found using a logical process, but then at the end it does not work because it's not part of your domain in this case. Is this my answer? No, this is not your answer. Your final answer for this problem is you found the x equals 4, it's not part of your domain, therefore it's no solution. Technically, you have no solution as part of this problem. Okay, this is the most common answer, I believe. What's your answer? It's an inconsistent. This is called an inconsistent equation. Inconsistent, let me see, I'm missing something now. Inconsistent equation, right? But this is too technical for some people. In other words, there's no answer. Therefore, this is another symbol. Another symbol, that's a Greek letter, phi. This means empty. Empty. So my answer is the empty set. All these are different notations. Inconsistent equation. Phi, I believe, is the Greek letter. Another one is a brace with nothing on the inside, meaning is the empty set. Okay, in books you're gonna find this symbol. That means empty. Okay, that means empty. There's no solution. All right. So that was the idea about doing this problem. One is with factoring, but the second idea was to show you that you have to go back to the restrictions and see if your answer is part of them or not. All right. Let's do another one, a little bit more difficult, but again, it's the same idea, same process. Let's try it out. We have example number 4. What's the idea with this example? I have variables on the numerator, okay? So this is different. But again, same process. Am I concerned about the numerator? No, I'm concerned about the denominator. So my first step, as always, is factor the denominator. So I'm going to bring everything else. 4x is on the top. Can I factor the x plus 3? No. Negative 12. X minus 3 equals, am I concerned about here? Technically here, I have a common factor. But no, I don't factor my numerator. Not doing equations. Factor my denominator, which is going to be x plus 3 times x minus 3 is the difference of squares. Second step, same as before. I find my restrictions. Right? Restrictions to the denominator, which means x plus 3 equals 0. X minus 3 equals 0, but if you notice the x plus 3 is here already, so if I do this, I don't have to do the x plus 3 over here, and x minus 3 is here already, so if I solve this one, I don't have to do it again, so this two only, minus 3, if by any chance I had different factors, than this, then I have to keep going. The only reason that I'm not doing it is because look at this. X plus 3 is covered, x minus 3 is covered, so I don't have to do it again. Alright, they're different, you have to. Let's go back. Minus 3, therefore my first restriction is x equals negative 3. I don't want that value, negative 3. Next, plus 3, 3's cancel, x equals 3. I don't want this value, that's my second restriction. It has to be different on negative 3 and positive 3. And now we know that we have to check those at the end. Alright, my next step, LCD. Let me erase and let's find the LCD. X plus 3 is here, x plus 3 is there. So that's part of my LCD, x plus 3. X minus 3 is here, x minus 3 is here. That has to be here. Anything else on the denominators? No. My LCD is x plus 3 times x minus 3. Now what do? Multiply the whole thing by this. So let's erase. Now we multiply the whole equation by my LCD, which is x minus, oh my god, x plus 3, x minus 3. Didn't leave space enough here. All that divided by 1. top with top, right? So I'm going to have 4x, and we should bring this to the side because we need as much space as we need a lot of space. Black, there you go. So my LCD times 4x, let's put 4x in the beginning, and let's put x plus 3 times x minus 3 divided by 1 times that. It's always the same denominator. You don't change your denominator. My LCD times 12. 12 x plus 3 x minus 3. 1 times my denominator, same denominator, equals, I have to make a line here, right? My LCD times this on the top. So I'm going to put a parenthesis right there, 4x squared plus 36 times x plus 3 times x minus 3. All that divided by x plus 3 times x minus 3. I'm sorry about this, but you know that all of those are multiplying on the top. Next step, simplify. So now that I multiply, I'm going to simplify my common factors. Simplify, right? That was the idea of multiplying by my LCD. So from here, x plus 3, I cancel. What's left? 4x multiply the x minus 3. Minus, here, x minus 3, what's left? 12, x plus 3. If you notice, denominators are leaving, are gone, equals x plus 3, x minus 3. What's left? The 4x squared plus 36. Do I need to keep this in parentheses? No. So I can erase this parenthesis and this parenthesis. And now I can just solve that equation as a regular equation. Let's see what we get. As I can see, I see squares. So let's find out. 4x squared, 4x times x. 4x squared. 4x times negative 3. Negative 12x. Negative 12 times x is negative 12x. Negative 12 times 3. Negative 36 equals to 4x squared plus 36. We have to solve this equation. But guys, don't go crazy with those variables right now. I have x squared on both sides, but look what's going to happen. I need to start simplifying, so I got to cancel minus 4x squared. Whatever I do on one side, I do on the other side. What's happening with those x squares? Cancel, cancel. What's left? Negative 12 minus 12, let's combine those. So that's negative 24x minus 36 equals to 36. And now my equation is a simple equation. All right, let me erase so we can finish this problem. So let's solve for x. Plus 36 plus 36. This 36 are going to cancel out. I'll bring down negative 24x. 36 plus 36 gives me 72. Divided by negative 24. Those cancel out. I end up with 72 divided by negative 24. It's going to give me, I think, 3 times 12. Yeah, 3. I got x equals negative 3. I'm done. Finally, one process. I got to bring my restrictions. Oh, here we go again. Restrictions. X cannot be negative 3. X cannot be 3. What's happening right now? I got x equal negative 3, but that's one of my restrictions. My final answer, empty set. Empty set. Two braces. This is a brace and nothing in between them. Empty set. No solution. Some books have no solution. For the most part, it's the empty set or inconsistent. Inconsistent equation. Inconsistent equation. All of those are possible answers. The most common one is this, phi empty set. Okay? Again, that's a more difficult problem, but I wanted to show you this. So please, make sure you check the rational expressions video from before, the factoring tool, because we need to know how to factor. All right? And subscribe to the channel, guys. Like the video, hit the notifications bell. All right? I'll see you in the next one. Take care.